We're going to jump to this video. It's posted by Matt Van Swole. Holy crap. The Democrat sheriff of Charlotte, North Carolina, Gary McFadden, was completely unable to answer what branch of government he serves under. It gets worse. You need to listen to this.
What branch of government do you operate under?
Mecklenburg County.
What branch of government do you operate under, Sheriff?
Ruh-roh.
Constitution of the United States.
Correct. That is what establishes the branches of government. I'm asking which branch you fall under.
Mecklenburg County. I'm a duly sworn Mecklenburg County Sheriff. We answer to the people of Mecklenburg County.
This was not where I was anticipating getting stuck. Are you aware of how many branches of government there are?
No.
For the sake of debate, I will move on and say there are 3 branches of government: legislative, executive, judicial. Of those 3, which do you believe you fall under?
I believe I fall under the last one.
The judicial.
Would you say it to me?
Judicial.
Okay. You are incorrect, sir. You fall under the executive.
Oh, my God. I think it's hard to be optimistic for the future of this country. You've got radicalized young people. What's that viral tweet about clavicular that's going around? I'm going to pull that out.
A frame mogged. You got a frame mogged by an ASU frat leader. It was
spiking his cortisol.
Well, that was the mid jester gooning one. There's 2 that went viral. I thought both were very informative news updates.
Yeah. I just
hold on.
Like, universal enfranchisement is an error.
Here's the post.
Oh yeah,
it's got 23.4 million views. Clavicular was mid jester gooning when a group of foids came and spiked his cortisol levels. Is ignoring the foids while munting and mogging moids more useful than SMV Chad fishing in the club? Well, guys,
answer absolutely.
We are creating a generation of retards.
Yeah.
You know what's really funny is when they're doing these AI tests, the AI created their own language because it's faster. And this was actually predicted several years ago. That what happens is we program them in English. But English is, well, arguably an imperfect way to communicate because it was developed slowly over time by humans trying to basically brute force a way to transfer ideas to each other. And so language is imperfect. A good example is like, what does racism mean? The left argues something else, probably in bad faith. Conservatives argue something different. So the AI were basically like, hey, we're not talking to humans. Let's communicate the most effective way possible. And they created their own language, which had substantially more words, was much more precise. And then they started printing out. There are people posting images of like this page of just what appears to be gibberish. And then you could ask it to translate it to English for you. That's what I see here. The internet has isolated so many people. Now, we've got two things happening. For the first video, we got retards in government.
Mm-hmm.
And for this video, young people in such isolated pockets, they're starting to create their own language.
Yeah.
Now, this might not be a real person. This might be an AI just grabbing the language used by these communities. But we've seen this trend quite a bit of Gen Z saying things that sound completely insane. And it's because you get 2,000 people in one community online and they never interact outside of it. They will start saying weird things and speaking a different language. It's quite literally how Latin breaks up into the Romance languages.
Yeah.
I do think for this particular post that the guy realized that this was going to be ridiculous and decided to put as many ridiculous words as possible in there to make, and it went viral clearly. But there is words like he is like mogging and munting and foids and moids. These are part of his.
Yes,
these are common internet parlance. But he decided to put this all into one tweet, which is why everyone loved it. I mean, it's a hilarious post. I mean, just with all the ridiculous.
But watch this video as well and see your faith in humanity drain.
My friend likes your cameraman.
Cameraman
likes you. What's your name?
I want to eat you.
Tell us your name.
Yo, W. His name is Kirk.
Kirk. My friend likes your camera.
This is real life. I'm sorry. Like when I was a teenager, we did not have these kinds of people where I grew up. everybody was lucid, you know.
This is extremely common on college campuses. Like this, every other.
Yeah,
frat
not when I
party.
was hanging out on college campuses.
I mean, it's common to see these types. I mean, they would not. They would at least be smart enough to not do that on camera. But the fact that there's like a cameraman, they're streaming, and then they go up and they say this type of stuff when that's gonna be broadcast to. At least there's like tens of thousands of people watching, and then if it goes on to X or on Twitter, it's gonna be broadcast to millions of people. You would know not to go up to a camera and say something.
I saw a really funny video on Instagram earlier. It's this what I would assume is a young woman with insane amounts of surgery and lip fillers, and it was like a chat roulette thing or whatever the kids are doing these days. And the guy, there's a young guy, and he's talking to her, and he goes, "You're a guy." And she's like, "No, I'm not." He's like, "You are a guy, right? You're a guy?" And she's like, "Why would you say that?" And he's like, "Oh." Like, so the thing is, my theory on why women are starting to just get lip fillers and look this way is either intentionally or unintentionally, media is encouraging women to look like trans women.
He's the female version of that. He is.
Yeah, their looks.
He's taking
the female version of trans women.
Yeah, because they do. They take surgeries and drugs to try to look
He's
like
the male version.
Oh, male version of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
By like bashing his face and trying to callous his I don't know, his cheekbones, and then taking steroids, obviously, and then I don't know, other stimulants to lose weight and whatnot.
Yeah,
that's necessary to mog the other moids. How is he going to mog the moids if he is not breaking his jaw?
He's frail though. He's like very frail. He's a tiny man. As far as like his,
what, really?
To be on test to be that small? Are you kidding? Like, yeah, he's very.
He
very
claims
small.
he doesn't work out as much as like other people. He's like thinks that's it goes against his credo of some sort to try that hard to work out. He just prefers like just taking the steroids and the supplements.
I kind of think he does exemplify though a growing archetype of younger male who's just like looking to be out there with the girls, like have a good time, be liked, looks max to what end?
Okay,
to
so
really
we've
attract
got-
the women.
we've got-
but this isn't uncommon,
Right,
like,
so
the
we've
mentality.
got the clavicular Gen Zers, you've got Zoomerwaffen, and then you've got a bunch of commie Zoomers. So the next generation will be screwed.
Well, Gen
Hopefully
Z
back to
is
neocon.
Well, we're gonna have hope for the Zoomers. Not all of them are either clavicular or communist. I think claviculars. He's like a real life comic book character, and he goes out there. I was comparing him to like imagine a modern Borat type character who's this ridiculous person who shouldn't like exist as like normal people. And he goes out and has these bizarre interactions with people that are pretty funny. So I find a lot of his content funny. I don't follow that closely, but what little I see, it amuses me, and I can understand the entertainment value.
So I'm not an avid watcher of his, but my favorite clip was when he was doing drugs on stream, gets a text from his father saying, like, "You're such a disappointment." Him just going like, "Oh man, guys, my dad thinks I'm a loser."
Yeah, it's like
it was such a good clip. It was so good.
It's the new level of reality.
he got charged
TV,
with
and
felonies?
it's better. It's way funnier
Yeah,
than
he
like
got
reality
charged with
TV
felonies.
was in the 2000s, and you could tell it was like too scripted and artificial. This is much more real and I think a lot funnier. It's also the fact that like I think in the 2000s people, as we were saying, like most people would see cameras in their face, so like, oh, I'm not going to say stupid.
No, I see.
But now they're like, I'm absolutely going to say stupid stuff with a camera in my face.
This goes to an argument that I made before. People that are in Gen X, some millennials, definitely boomers, they still care about privacy. They still care about, being able to control what people see and stuff like that. Gen Z and younger millennials and Gen Alpha, they don't care because they assume that everything's recorded, because generally, everything is. If you're in public, there's going to be a phone, there's going to be security cameras. They just assume that there is no privacy anymore. So they'll do whatever they're going to do with cameras in their face, and that's largely because they just assume that cameras are watching anyways.
Yeah, and I remember growing up, like there would be like they'd interview local old people on local TV, and they'd be asking like, "Let me ask you about your pumpkin patch," and these old people are like, "I don't want to be on camera."
Yeah.
It'd be something totally non-controversial, and they get upset about the camera. But it's completely different with Zoomers. Zoomers see a camera and they run to it.
I see a lot of those auditor videos, and it's like the weirdest culture ever. Have you seen the culture of auditors?
I hate those.
They're just like, I'm a guy and I'm going to go film whatever I want. Now, to be fair, like people react poorly. If I was walking down the street and there's a guy filming, I'd be like, "Hi."
Wait, you know what they're actually trying to achieve, right?
What, antagonize people?
A lawsuit with law enforcement.
There's stated reasons for what they're doing. Versus, I disagree. Sometimes they want lawsuits. I think if you think about the principal motivation, it's likely boredom, and they're asserting a purpose-driven meaning behind what they're doing. That's what they call it, auditing. They're saying you're doing something that is intentionally antagonistic and you know it, and you're doing it because you're auditing whether or not they'll let you do it because it's First Amendment right stuff. And that's why, like, bro, if you're walking down the street and someone's filming, you can just avoid the camera, just go around them, walk the other way. It's funny, these people are like, you can't film me, and they walk up to him.
Yeah.
And or the auditor, they'll walk up to the auditor and be like, why are you filming here? You can't film me. And he's like, you walked up to me, lady. So, but it is like the most annoying content imaginable because I find the auditors themselves to be largely annoying. And then I find the responses from the people around to be substantially more annoying. So the whole video is just an exercise in pure annoyance. I'm like, swipe, I'm not watching that garbage. You know exactly how they're going to go.
It's like the sovereign citizens. Right, like you get pulled over. Maybe the camera's not there, but they're there to push the cops' buttons. They're like, "All right, now's my chance."
I think they're trying to get out of something. They're trying to get out of the Dewey or something.
I'm not driving. I'm traveling.
And some of these guys aren't even doing it as like kind of a troll. They're like, it's like a really earnest like autism.
Yeah,
and you almost start to root for the cop. And sometimes the cop isn't even much of like being.
I'm always
jerk.
rooting for the cop.
And, they will make you root for the cop when he's like, I am not rolling down my window. And
you know what I love?
Just goes after him.
I love how in all these body camera videos, the person says, I want to talk to your supervisor. Like, my guy, I don't think you understand how committing a crime works.
Yep.
You can't ask for the manager when you've broken the law. And there's a video I watched where the cop is like, ma'am, your tag is expired, so, I'm going to need your license and registration. She goes, I want a supervisor. He's like, I am the supervisor. She's like, I want your supervisor. He's like, no. Like, what do you think is going to happen?
You don't get
He's like, you're getting a ticket. You can call after. People are nuts, dude. I watched... These videos are really crazy. I did a big video. I watched this video of this street racers. They crashed. Car flips over. It was totally gnarly. And this young woman just starts. She won't shut up. She just keeps talking to the cops. After they decide they're going to arrest her for street racing, she decides to have like a 10-minute conversation with them, explaining everything she did and why she shouldn't get arrested. And do you know what she actually did? Confessed to all of the crimes to the cops. She goes, I know that I was speeding, but I wasn't speeding that much. And I shouldn't be arrested because, I saw the lights, but I had to stop. I had to, because the car had flipped over and I have first aid training, so I have to do it. And then the cops are like, okay, well, you're under arrest. And then she just keeps going. And I'm like, she's just confessing to all the crimes they're trying to charge her with. This is people, what are they doing?
People are dumb. People, and like a lot of times people want validation. They're like, look, I was doing the bad thing, which is, admitting to committing a crime. But here's the reason. And so you should let me go because this real good justification for breaking the law. It's like, well,
shut up. Say nothing.
Cop to it.
Get processed. Take your court date.
Yep.
Telling the cops anything doesn't help. Mm-hmm. The most important thing to understand about talking to cops is that if they misremember, you're going to prison forever. Like the assumption most people make is, oh, the cops aren't going to lie. No, but they can make a mistake, and that happens quite a bit. So she said something like, I forgot the analogy that I used. She said, you could say something like, I wasn't speeding, right? You say you could speak with perfect elocution and enunciation and say, I was not speeding. Let's say you say it quickly and go, I wasn't speeding, and the cop hears, I was speeding. And then he goes to court, stands on the stand and says, he said, I was speeding. And you go, no. I said I wasn't speeding. And they go, that's not what I heard. So just don't say anything.
This reminds me of a clip of an Asian man with a female officer just struggling, and she's
shot.
No, he didn't end up getting shot. But like she made it sound like he was saying that he was driving drunk or something when he was just totally struggling to even communicate basic words. To
Have you seen the video of it's like an old video from the 90s of I don't know if it was like a Scottish guy or something. He had an ad in the newspaper saying house for rent, no Asians. And the reporter comes up and they were like, we saw this report in the newspaper saying no Asians. He's like, yeah. He's like, why no Asians? And he goes, there are a bunch of crooks there. And he's like, well, you can't say that. And he's like, why not? It's true. And then he was like, this is a crime. He's like, no, it's not. And then he was like, the reporter's like, yeah, you can't discriminate. This is you can't discriminate against people like this. And he's like, well, I don't understand why you're so mad. All they do is come in, do the listing for you, and then take a fee. And then the reporter goes, agents. You mean agents? And he goes, yeah, agents. So he calls it in. He says, no agents. And they write Asians. And that's how you can find yourself in prison for hate speech.
Especially in the UK.
Now, the funny thing is, if that happened today, he'd just get arrested. And he'd be like, no, I said agents. And they'd be like, Asians? Agents. I can't speak English. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.